is the craziest thing you've ever done for a laugh? And this can be on your current show, this can be in any other job that you've had.
Yep. I don't think we want to answer that.
Private.
There's taping.
We answer every question as a group like that. That's private.
That's private.
How does your show end? It's a good question. It's private too.
We know the answer.
As a group, we're going to say it's private.
Yeah.
I think as a group, we decided to spend our lives pretending to be other people. That's the craziest thing.
That's a big, very large, overarching, crazy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to doing something else. Or something funny. Or some funny answer that I could have thought of.
I guess I probably put on a wig.
You put on a wig?
Yeah, as a kid, probably that was my first thing to like do something stupid to make someone laugh.
How old were you?
32.
Yeah. There's pictures there's pictures of me from 5 on, like all of a sudden I'm in a wig. I'm like, who in the hell put me in this wig? It's like, oh, you always wanted to wear wigs. Always wanted to wear wigs and makeup. Did I? Okay. All right. Yeah.
Do you still have any copies of those pictures?
Yeah, I have them in my room.
Do you still have any copies of those wigs?
Yeah.
Is that a wig?
This is a wig.
It's a good one.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anything come to mind?
You know, when I was a kid, we used to do talk shows with my family where I would be the host and my siblings would be the guest, and I would draw a little bit of chest hair and a mustache. And we knew that, like, hosts had like booze, but we didn't know it was booze, so we'd have like glasses that we would drink, and so we would do that for laughs.
I like that the talk show host had chest hair.
Yeah, it would be. There's like pictures where I would draw chest hair and a mustache. I knew the kind of guy I wanted to be at like 7.
Right.
But so in a lot of the pictures, I'm like holding a glass, just doing like the fake big laugh of like amazing.
Who was your inspiration? Like, who was a talk show host that had a lot of chest hair, you think?
I can't answer that.
Like, what public access shows were you watching as a kid, man?
I can't answer that for certain.
Burt Reynolds had a talk show for a while, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, he did guest host The Tonight Show all the time.
But was he open shirted?
I can't imagine.
I don't know.
At least in my like 7-year-old, fantasy version, it was open shirted, mustache. The sad reality is my cousin was always, like one of my cousins always was like a football player. My brother was a politician. My sister was creating stuff, and my other cousin Teresa was always like a hooker. But in terms of like what that would be, I would talk, she would just like wear a cute dress and be like, I'm Bubbles.
So just
thinking back, it's like, what were you doing on the couch?
So just curious, what's she up to these days?
Just chilling out here now.
Oh yeah. Oh,
great
okay.
now.
Yeah, love to meet her.
She's your
Love to meet her.
Yeah, exactly. She's here actually somewhere.
Plus, you could pitch that show now. Now you've got that power to like get it out there.
That's right.
It's a very involved production at your house, though. I liked the talk shows too, but I only just wanted to come out from behind the curtain, and I did that a lot when I was very young, like Johnny, but I didn't want to do the rest of the job. Or maybe just not have the energy to organize everybody in the family to do the whole thing. I'm not sure. I'm very impressed that
But you would do
everyone
the
was willing
walkout.
to. Oh, yes.
As the host or as the guest on the
As
show?
the host.
Oh, gotcha.
Here's... I don't know if
Jim.
I said Jim. Well, yeah, but I wonder if it was. I don't know what I said. That
really-
and Mr. Rogers' sweater. Those are the 2 things I wanted. I wanted to take a sweater out of the closet. I wanted to come from behind the curtain.
How often did you do that?
I don't know. It stopped around 3 or 4. This was very young, so I think it happened. I was done with it by then. I think.
We're done. I'll be back in an hour.
It's really not good.
That's also a really high concept idea for a talk show, is just coming out of a curtain and then roll credits. It's done.
You can
Fred,
get the
you have to
advertisers to
have
pay
some
for
crazy
it.
Yeah.
stuff. It's from SNL.
From SNL?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're all crazy. The whole schedule, the whole thing is crazy. So it's almost like I can't think of any part of it that's not. But as far as trying to get a laugh, I mean, I don't think we think so much about trying to get a laugh. I mean, I think they happen or they don't, and it's kind of beyond our control, really. It'd be nice if we could control it, but you can't really.
No, it feels like you stumble upon them.
Yeah, I think.
Little landmines.
Yeah.
Taking it in a little bit of a different direction, if you got to be a network executive for a day, what's the first change you'd make or thing you'd do?
Oh my God.
I would change the way actors get jobs for TV shows. I mean, I think that's kind of slowly changing, where the whole test process is kind of being old-fashioned, where you go in front of a room full of, executives wearing suits and ties multiple times to get your job. versus, putting a performance on tape and letting an editor edit it with the showrunners the best performance, because in reality that's what happens on our TV shows. I would change that, because I feel like there's a better process to finding great talent than that whole situation.
I think that's really smart, Eric, but I had to test in front of everybody.
Yeah, I did too.
So I kind of want, this year I was talking to people who said their whole test experience was they were recommended, did something on video, and then 3 weeks later got offered the part, and they're like crazy.
Yeah.
Doing the test, there's so much anxiety. It's a nightmare.
It's kind of like hazing in fraternities.
Yeah, but
it's
I
like
feel
you
like
kind of want everyone to go through it.
I want people who are getting on TV shows to have to go through that, and it's terrible, and you get nervous. I'm like, yeah, test in front of everybody. But I think it's smarter, especially with a single cam show, to shoot it and edit it and see how it actually be on the show.
I wonder if the psychology behind it is they just want to see how much pressure you can take and still be competent. I think it's sadistic and not great, not a great system, but there must be some reason behind, because I
think there's true.
10 years ago, I remember going, and it was like an arena full of people. It was 40 people, and you have to do these. It was horrible.
My standard line when I would go in and get the opportunity to test in those rooms, what I would always say, I've done theater for less people than this. There was I've done a play for less people than are in this room right now.
That's true.
For sure.
For sure.
What other changes might you make if you had power on that executive level? Either in the way people consume the programs, the way they're disseminated, anything like that.
There's a couple of things that just don't make any sense to me. The whole idea of making a bunch of pilots, making 100 pilots, knowing that paying for 100 pilots, knowing you're only going to use 7, is just such a crazy, ridiculous waste of money. Right. So I don't know how you fix that, but that just has always seemed ridiculous to me. And I guess if I was running a network, the ideology that you have to sort of aim right down the middle, that you're aiming for something that 20 million people will watch, I think it would be nice to just put on a show that you think would be great. I think there's nothing wrong with putting on a show that 20 million people will watch, but aiming to put on a show that 20 million people watch is not the smartest thing. It doesn't.
Well, and 20 million people don't watch comedy, primetime shows anymore anyway.
Yeah, don't I know it. Yeah.
Do you guys pay attention to your ratings? Is that something you are focused on?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cognizant of it. Well, it depicts, it dictates whether you get to keep your job, so.
And it's sent to you all the time. You get an email or whatever.
Somebody will
mention,
Oh, all the time, yeah.
But it is also, it's what you're thinking. It's, the show I'm on, we just finished season 2, and everything you're hearing about it, you want to come back. So, people can say oh, you guys will come back for sure, and you hear that, but if the ratings start really slipping on anything, they're not going to put something on and spend a lot of money if people aren't watching it.
Yeah.
So you watch the ratings, and you want people to like it so that you can keep working. I think the actors who don't pay attention to it at all either are on such huge monster shows where it's great, you don't have to at that point. But I feel the rest of it's everybody does, kind of.
Yeah. I think I would also kind of try and, if I was running a network, which I will never do.
I don't know. You never know. I think that's selling yourself short.
Yeah, I think you're right. When I run a network, I think
He really turned you around on that.
Yeah.
So quickly.
I have made plans now. It's officially happened.
I changed my mind. Yeah. I'd rather you not run a
Okay,
network.
forget it. It's not going to happen.
You actually will make a great president.
Just agreeing with everything everyone says.
Yeah.
I think I would try and pick the right showrunners and then leave them alone. I think when we really have seen the results of that, it's different than when there's constant network meddling. I think that shows sort of kind of get watered down and turn into something other than they were originally intended to be. And as long as you pick the right people to make the shows, I think leaving them alone and trusting them, empowering them with the creative voice of the show, I think always, or not always, but it's a big gamble anyway, so why not gamble on the person that you've asked to make the show and see what they come up with, because I think that's where the great shows come from, is from the creative people.
How involved are you guys with the notes process on your shows? Do they trickle down to you, or sort of do the writers shield you from?
Not at all.
Zero.
A lot.
Really?
A lot, yeah. We go through them. on Portlandia all the time. So it's trying to find the balance between seeing if it is an actual valuable note, or if it's something to be ignored.
What's a really ridiculous note that you've gotten in the last few years?
Oh my God, there've been so many, but I mean, there's just so many, but I don't want to, all these people are trying to do is just make the show better, so we all have the same goal. So I don't want to ridicule it too much, but sometimes it's the opposite of what we're thinking. Because sometimes some of it is nonsense and abstract, like what the kind of joke we're trying to do. So you just have to figure out a way to ignore it or take it. And sometimes they're great notes. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it really does turn things around, and sometimes it really helps. So I'm not against notes. I don't subscribe to like they're crazy or they're dumb or anything like that. Sometimes it has helped.
Does NBC give notes to Lorne anymore about SNL? I mean, is that?
I have no idea.
You don't know.
I have no idea.
And what about in your characters? In the writing process, do you weigh in? I wish that I could deliver this line a little differently. Do I wish that my character could do this? In your case, do you want Nick and Jess to get together? Do you not? Do you voice opinions like that?
Well, at least on our show, we improvise a lot. So we're given takes where we can kind of do it the way we want to do it. And our creator, Liz Merriweather, is open to things. So, I probably email her and talk to her too much. But in the truth, she has final say. So I kind of think that I can throw any idea at her. If she doesn't want to do it, it's her show. But yeah, I like being able to throw ideas out.
Do you do that before you shoot or as you're shooting? Do you come up with stuff?
I Monday morning quarterback it a lot.
Uh-huh.
So after it airs, what people don't like, I'll go like, Liz, I knew that was a mistake. That was really bad. You should have listened. No, I'll go before I'll pitch things, where I'll say like, it'd be great if we could do this, and then most of it is thrown out, and then on set, we'll be shooting, and as we're shooting, we can say, what if we try that, and so a little bit of both.
How about the rest of you? How does it work on your shows?
I think on our show we kind of just do it until everyone agrees that it's not right, and then it's an all hands on deck approach. Like people ask all the time, like, do you improvise on the show? And it's like minute moments do we improvise. Like in interviews sometimes we'll improvise, but for the most part it's kind of a bigger thing than that, in that when the scene's just not playing the way it intended, then it's writers and producers. We either have Chris or Steve on set with the writers, so we always have, at least two producers there, plus the director and plus us. So we all have input, but my personal thing is, and I guess it's just from like wanting to be a pleaser, is I just do it until somebody says something. And I just assume that I'm going to trust everyone around me that it's not good. And if I hear something from someone, then I'll, change it. But in the beginning, I just go with like, my instincts, and then I wait and listen and see if anybody has anything to say.
It's similar with us too. We don't improv at all, and that's just not the way it's set up. It's not that it's like a hard environment where you would be scared to. It just wouldn't fit in. And I don't personally give any character suggestions for two reasons. The number one, I've never wanted for anything as far as doing the show. I've always been very well, I enjoy what I do, and I'm entertained by the ideas that come down. I love executing them. But the other thing is, and this is kind of sneaky, I think, on my part, but I can tell it's in my head, I like not being responsible for it. I like executing an idea that isn't my own, and that frees me. I don't have to defend it. I don't have to sell it. I just have to do it. And then it's exactly like you said, when it's not, if it doesn't work, they change it because they don't want to air it any more than I would want it aired. So I just have to keep doing it and finding my way with it. And for me, that's really freeing, But we don't improv at all. It's just never been that way. It's interesting.
Matthew, how about on your show?
Well, I'm the exact opposite.
Are you really?
I really am. I'm the exact opposite. Scott Silveri is the showrunner for my show, and we did Friends for, a long time together. And the pilot he'd written was so good. It was so smart. And my only question for him, I said, I don't have any creative questions. It's a great script. And the way we did Friends was there was nobody tyrannical. There was, everybody was, best joke won, no matter where it came from, the craft service person, anybody. And I said, you know, my only question is, in the last 8 years, have you become an asshole? That's all I said. And he said, no, I haven't. And I said, great, I'm in. And so he allowed me to do like a quick pass, you know, on the scripts, and then just, you know, a quick little punch up of my stuff if it didn't sound right coming out of my mouth.
Because he wrote that for you, with you in mind.
I guess he
Right,
did,
so that kind of changed
yeah.
his dynamic probably while he was writing.
Yeah, I really like to have a little hand in it if I can, and it makes the job much harder. But by now, because I've been doing this so long, I sort of know my voice and know, and so, but the same token, it is his show, so it's up to him.
Yeah, I guess I think about that all the time with my character. Is like, well, Steve and Chris created the character. I say the words for the character, so I don't know who's the shepherd of the character. I mean, I get to put on the shoes and the shirt and get my hair blown dry and walk into it, but that's not literally my character. And it's like they passed it off to me. So it's those moments where I'm like, where I hear other actors like say, well, would the character say this? Like, well, who knows what the character would say? It's not real. Like, it's just, but then you do become the voice of it. So you, specifically with my stuff, it's like regional things. Cam's from, the part of the country where I'm from. So I have a say in how farm terms come out of my character, or, I just lost a little battle on the show. I wanted to say, in the episode where we were explaining to Lily she's not gay, she's Vietnamese. Like when her little friend says she's Italian, she's from Italy, she's Italian. And I kept wanting to say Italian. I said Cam would say, just like little so-and-so is from Italy, that means he's Italian. And they were like, oh, it just does. I'm like, I'm telling you, people where I'm from say Italian.
And they wouldn't let you.
Well, they did, but then they didn't use it.
Yeah.
They just didn't use it. That's how they know.
On our show, they do this. They do that all the time. They're like, "It's really smart, Jake. Let's do it." And I'll shoot it, and I'll be like, "Thank you guys. It just felt better." And then I'll watch on Tuesday, and it'll have nothing.
No one else agreed.
All right, I get it.
It's placating.
It made me feel better, so that was nice.
Matthew, you mentioned the Friends piece, and I'm curious, obviously, ratings aside, because we're in a different era, what's the biggest difference between being an NBC star today versus 10, 15 years ago?
The free Ferrari you get Friday morning.
Yeah.
The laugh was perhaps answer enough, but
It's completely different. When Friends started, there was no cable, there was no like hot food, there was no mass transit.
Seems like just the other day.
I know.
No, it's just really completely a different thing. Friends was getting, I guess, what like American Idol gets every week. So it's completely different.
Do you feel more or less pressure as talent now than before? Like on a day-to-day basis, sort of, the show's riding on me. You were obviously part of a large ensemble. Your show's an ensemble now, but you're the sort of center of it.
Yeah, I don't know. It really is because it's all changed so much that I had no expectation of it even being close to, I always have the same thing. I think it just comes out of fear of not getting a laugh, that I had from the time I was a kid. So I really sort of obsess on this joke doesn't quite work. We've got to get this right. I was always like that, whether I was a member of a 6-person ensemble or whether I'm the center of a show. I was just always kind of like that. But it just feels night and day.
With your taping process completely different too, right?
Yeah.
Y'all were multi-camera and before an audience on Friends.
Yeah.
And that's a very different beast.
Well, that's what I was talking to you about at the Kings game. That job was ridiculous. It was, it's in front of a live audience. it's, it was like a 10 to 4 kind of job, and we only worked a third of the time, like you.
Yeah.
On my show,
Like you.
Okay, take it easy.
I'm just
it's
saying,
true.
it's amazing. We only worked a third of the time, and on my show, I worked like 15 hours a day, like every day. And I was like, why in the world did we stop? We all decided, you know what, let's stop. I'd love to get in a time machine right now and go, let's not stop.
I don't think anyone wanted you to stop it either.
Do you miss the live audience?
I do a little bit, because it's a completely different type of acting.
Yeah.
I think it certainly breeds like playing to the back seat in the audience. It breeds a slightly bigger performance, and I also get a kick out of being able to play something a little bit more real.
Yeah.
But it really is different.
It's probably like, and you probably have it and you on Saturday nights, like that rush of the live audience. I would think it would be tough to give it up and move on to something else and just say goodbye to that. Like, it must be so fun to have that every week.
It really is fun. My theory on it was, I've done it. We did 236 episodes, but it's like the difference is sort of, if you are sad about something, if your character's sad about something or very angry, instead of just playing it exactly the way somebody would play angry or sad, you're sort of saying, I'm going to be angry and sad now, so watch this. You're going to enjoy it. Right. And in a one-camera show, you play it more like, that's sort of the difference, or at least for me it is.
Right.
A lot of these characters are semi-iconic characters. Do you guys worry as you're taking them and becoming them about being typecast at all?
No, that wouldn't be very fun to work under that worry,
But is it a consideration?
I know, I understand what you're saying,
right.
and I'm not, I certainly, things like that happen, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. It can't matter. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do? Backpedal and do less of a character or something? I don't know. I don't know how you.
Or do you think that people have a hard time thinking of you for different roles?
Oh, I'm sure some people do.
Okay, because I'm like,
and that's okay. That's
That's
just one.
Because obviously this isn't the only thing you're doing. You do
no,
theater.
it's not.
I mean, everyone
but
here does other things.
And that's my job, is to keep doing other things. That's the only way around that, And that's why it's okay with me too, because I enjoy working and I enjoy doing other things. So having that hurdle, is that's fine. That's fine.
I always see it as sort of a reflection of the person that says anything about it. Like, my view on it, like when people tweet me when they've seen me on American Horror, when they've seen me in an episode of a TV show I did well before Modern Family, and they say, Cam's in this episode of NCIS, I can't take it seriously anymore. I just think you're stupid. I think, well, you don't understand acting and people, because that's not Cam. That's a different, that's me. I mean, or somewhat close to me. I just think it's hilarious.
Just get ready.
Yeah.
Get ready.
I love that. Ed O'Neill's the same way. He said, I just started keeping track in a different way. And I think
mean his Al Bundy versus?
Yes, and I think what he meant was dollars. I mean, if I'm to interpret it, it's like he's like, I'll just keep track.
Small price to pay.
Yeah, when people say, hey, Al Bundy, he just keeps track that way.
Cha-ching.
That's hilarious.
I kind of feel like I was kicking around for like 15 years before having any semblance of success. So if I'm typecast, I'm like, great, fine. Like, I'm on a TV show. I'm like typecast away or whatever, because I'm just psyched to have a job. And so I don't really look at that as I think that's a very nice problem. But I just feel kind of excited to be in danger of being typecast. It's kind of a nice.
You're typecast because you've done like such a good job with a character that everybody loves it. Actually, so you're like, awesome.
Right.
That's a really hilarious way to think about it. Somebody goes, "Yo, Chandler," and I just go, "Red Bull machine."
Crunched ice machine.
I should just do that. I'm literally going to do that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of fan interactions, what are some of your
Hilarious. That guy's gonna be
stranger?
so confused by the Chandler, Red Box. Like, what? Why am I a Red Bull machine?
What are some
Very nice
funny
ottoman.
moments you've had?
Beautiful infinity pool.
Fred, I'll start with you. What are some funny fan interactions you had, or weird things that people have said to you?
I was in Portland, kind of going to the movies on my own, and this woman just came up to me and said, "I work at this bakery. Here's a loaf of bread." And it was a long
Very
thing
Portland.
of yeah, but I couldn't like dump it out. I mean, I had to take it with me to the movies because they'd be rude. So I just had this bread with me. I get given things a lot.
Was she carrying that around in the hopes of running into you?
I think she was just off work. She just finished work. She just had a lot of bread with her. So it wasn't teeny. It was this.
I mean,
long-
that's really sweet when you think about it. It's
That's
like,
great,
You
yeah.
give me laughs,
Sweet.
I give you bread.
Yeah.
And she's proud
very
of her
literal.
product too. It's very nice.
Did you
Very
end up
sure,
eating
but-
it?
Part of it. I couldn't do the whole thing.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
It's insane.
It's a lot of bread.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
all carbs.
It's not what you normally
By
take into the
definition.
theater to watch a movie, a whole
Yeah.
loaf of bread.
Well, you don't, maybe.
Oh, sorry.
How about the rest of you? Any bizarre interactions?
I got given a knit cap at a taping the other night. It was I heard it happening. We were in the middle of a scene, or between scenes, and so I was on the stage, and I made a knit cap, and I thought, I'm not hearing this right. And then finally it kept making its way down, and finally I had to kind of walk out of the stage and get the audience and get the knit cap and say thank you.
Did you put it on?
No, I mean, I was in show hair. I didn't want to cause anybody more work.
Did you eat the whole thing?
But I thought that was very funny. I don't know, it was nice, but I don't know what my character nor I are big into knit caps. So it was just something to give, I guess.
Because of the character I play, I get a lot of I read and register a tremendous amount of disappointment on people's faces when they meet me. Honestly, people think, "Oh, that's probably not true," but like it really is true because as lovely as I think you all think I might be, I'm nowhere near as lovely as people's hope that my character.
You and Cam are very different
Yes.
from each other.
And so I get people literally say to me like, "Oh." Like, or now do Cam. Like, well, I'm just.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah, it is.
And what's doing Cam? Like, what are you supposed to do?
I don't. Well, I but
Washer and dryer.
But the one I think I love the most is when people come up to me and I can't imagine it happens to any of you guys because you're all extremely like traditionally handsome. But people come up to me and tell me that I'm much better looking in person and I'm not as heavy as they thought I would be. Like they literally say that out loud. And then I'm left there just with like,
Pondering that.
What are you
Yeah.
supposed to say to that?
well, I
exactly?
usually tell them to go fuck themselves. No, of course not. No, I'm always nice. I was like, well, thank you very much. That's so sweet. And
I think women actresses get that a lot too.
yeah.
It seems to be a trend in
The skinny thing
conversations
for
we have,
sure,
yeah. Or you're so
that.
much smaller, shorter.
Yeah. You're taller, you're more handsome, and you're not as big as I thought you'd be. Like, okay,
I guess those
well.
are all positives.
Are they?
It could be the other way, Eric.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They could be like, whoa, you are fatter and uglier and weirder.
right now. Okay, Jake, stop it.
That would be way worse. I get the first season of the show. It really spooked me out because I would get I'd be in like a supermarket and I would make eye contact with somebody and I would register that I think they just recognized me, but they wouldn't be clear. And then you would like see them around the grocery store, and it's a really off-putting thing because they're not saying anything; they're being like polite about it. But everywhere you go, you would like see somebody walk who just does like a hey. And you're like if you're gonna kill me, just do it. Whatever you're planning, just do it. This is killing me.
I'm always curious with you, like how, like, because I think as actors we're aware people. Like I think the reason we're probably actors is we're investigators,
Right.
we're upward thinkers, we
attention.
look at, we're paying attention to things. How do you just like skate by that? Because I mean, I would tell you the same thing. Like I've been on the show a couple years longer than you, and I've already found myself being at the grocery store of like, trying to not pay attention to that person who's totally circling me the whole time. Yet, my nature is to know, like, hey, I see you circling me.
That's right. And then all you're thinking about is that person. You're like,
Yeah.
I was on a nice train of thought.
Yeah.
I want to go back to that thought.
I was thinking about bread.
And I was in a nice zone.
But do you just like how do you do it?
Well, it's odd in a like. Well, one thing is you don't go to the grocery store anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I want to go to the grocery store. I like it there.
I like grocery stores too.
Well, then you guys have a real dilemma.
I'm not saying.
But you know, I go to the Kings games all the time, and you just sort of, you know where you're going.
Yeah.
But the thing is that some people turn really fast, like they're a big fan, and wow, I can't believe I'm meeting you. This is great. Can I take a picture? And because I've been in this situation before, and I very nicely, I said, it's very nice to meet you. The only problem is so many people around. If we take a picture now, it's going to start a whole thing. And then they just go, well, you're an asshole.
Yeah.
And that's when you have to just go,
And that's not really my
walk away.
nature to just really walk away.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's,
does that change the way you do that,
that
or do
fast
you
turn.
continue to say like I can't do a photo right now?
Yeah, but it's also such a different time too, because now you never know where that picture is going to go, and everybody
There were no
puts
phones
it
during
on
Friends.
Twitter and
everyone has a camera on
Everybody
them
has
at all
everybody.
times.
That's why I love when people come up and ask for like an autograph. I think that's like such a cool thing.
Yeah,
it's like
such
a
an old
retro
school.
thing. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. What's your first name? Like, and that's like a genuine, like it's like a genuine moment in that time. Like a camera just like reduces it to like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna smile, and we're gonna have this moment, and then that's it. But like I always say, like, you know, when that moment's like, well, so where are you from? And like try to talk and have a moment, but you know, picture just sort of puts it right down to its bare bones, which is just stand there and smile. I had a guy at the Patriots game. I was at a Chiefs-Patriots game, and he was just walking down the aisle, just like taking pictures. I'm like, hey man, hey, I'm just watching the game. He goes, you know, and he just started cussing me out, telling me that he's never watching the show again. Like, how quick people turn. It's refreshing to know that doesn't change.
you can just say, well, lucky for me, 17 million other people will.
Adam, what do you find people most sort of identify? Because you've been in a lot of movies, you've been in dramas.
You know, it depends on the demographic, but I was going to say that the one cool thing is I get a lot of love from caterers when I'm at events from Party Down. I get like, and that's a fun group to kind of be in with when you're at the party.
Bring you lots of
benefit,
food.
yeah.
Yeah, and they're just over they don't care about they're kind of just working and over the whole thing, and that's kind of usually how I'm feeling once I arrive at the party.
And not a lot of actors have the catering subculture like on their side.
Right.
Yeah.
So I get attention from the caterers, which I actually do enjoy. I had a weird experience recently where I was out in the front driveway of my house playing basketball with my son, and one of those we live kind of in Hollywood, and so there's all these Hollywood tours, these open air sort of vans, and it seems like there's 70 of them, and they all just have their van painted in bright colors and have sawed the roof off, and they just drive people around, and which is very cool for someone who's never been here. It's fun, but I was out front, and it was a surreal, and this is going to sound sort of like a humble brag, but it was actually a strange, shitty moment, which just made it sound even more like a humble brag, but was when I was there and they came by and I heard the guy on the loudspeaker say, and now we're looking at Parks and Recreation's Adam Scott's house, and we're just standing there, and I just had to like bring my kid inside and try and, it was just a weird, not great moment.
Did he notice?
He did. He's 6, so he's registering that this is weird, and he knows that's, and so I don't know how they figured out that that's where we live, but it was a strange.
I think that's the thing. People like, for myself, like, you don't go to acting school and learn how to, like,
Deal with fame. And
deal with the things that come along with your dreams coming true. Like,
Right.
That's the way it really comes down to it. And I feel like you know, I can really empathize with someone young that has it happen. I mean, thankfully for me, my dreams came true, but at 38, like when I was like able to really be grounded and smart with money and things like that. But like I get like when you're 26 and super famous and have all the money, like how things can go bad. But also like just dealing with that part of your life is not easy, and you're learning it as it's happening. So you're not always making the right choice, the best choice. You're learning how to go get a new pair of shoes and just go get a new pair of shoes and not like just, you know, because you start to lose a little bit of what it is to be you.
They also, going off on this thing really fast, there's also something that happened, because I was the same. I didn't get in anything really until my late 20s, early 30s. And so I had that like, well, this is neat. I was a caterer. So I was like, cool, I'm not really day jobbing it. This is great. But what people do when they recognize you is a lot of it's really nice, and a lot of it really is like a cool moment. But people take weird liberties that they wouldn't say to me had they not seen me on TV, and it puts you in a spot where you're like if someone with the phone, someone takes your photo, and then there's a few others, and now you don't want to be that guy. So you're like, let's get this group really fast. And I've honestly had my arms around some random dude, someone's taking a photo, and he goes, I don't know who you are, but everybody else is doing it. And I'm like, your arm's on my back, man. Like, then let's not, you're like, that was kind of a dig. Like, your buddies are laughing, your cheek is touching my cheek, like, I don't know how to roll with this moment. And you just go like, right on, man. Well,
all he cares about is that someone may recognize you in that photo later.
And I want to be like, thanks for not watching New Girl, dude, because I know you don't.
and thanks for telling me. I love, that's one of it has to be your favorites, when people feel the need to come up to you and say, I don't watch TV.
That's right.
All the time.
All the time.
I always mess with those situations. Like, I always say, well, that's not true.
Yeah.
And I always love saying, like, to the guy, let's get the camera out of this situation. Let's get the camera and all these people out of this situation. Like, I love to say that to them.
Looking back is there
Let's minus the camera from
Yeah.
this scenario.
But this, by the way, that doesn't happen to movie people. It happens
Not
to
as much,
TV
true.
people.
You're much more accessible.
You know, people
that's
come up to me and just go, I just got this sweater. What do you think? Dude, I really don't know. But they're not going up to Anthony Hopkins and doing that. You know, it's
I
because
would like
we're in
to
there.
see that.
We're in there yeah, I think it's a lovely sweater.
Is there a job you wish you could scrub off your resume?
No.
You got a yes out of that one.
Oh, sure. I did a pilot about a guy who was in charge of separating aliens' luggage at the LA airport in the year 2194.
Oh.
Yeah.
When was that?
That sounds great.
There's a real part of me that's interested.
It's true. I did that the same year, the same pilot season as Friends.
Wow.
LAX 2194.
Is it on YouTube or anything?
It must be. I wore a futuristic shirt, and the aliens were little people, wearing wigs.
Yeah. Such a bummer that didn't get picked up.
Yeah, who's this? Do you remember who the showrunner was? Like,
It was a real show. Barry Kemp, you know, he's.
God, the world would be a different place if that.
I certainly wouldn't be sitting here.
It's really funny, that and Friends, to hear like your agents back then being like, we love them both.
Yeah.
Matt, you're so good in both. But, I mean, they're both home runs. Let's just see what happens. You're great in both. I mean, we love them.
Yeah.
Fred, how about you? I know you have a good story.
Do I?
You do. I know you do.
No, I actually think, I mean, to me, you know, I know this sounds like a sort of a utopian thing or a thing to say, but like, even the jobs that I didn't enjoy very much kind of got me to where I am. I mean, if it was a week out of my life or whatever, I could never complain or think that like it was any detriment to me.
Or is there maybe a non-acting job too? Like maybe a job you had on your way to.
I mean, I've been in commercials and stuff. Is that what you mean? Yeah.
No, or even just a non, like, you know, he'd done catering or.
Oh, you mean like non-show business jobs?
Or those two.
Yeah, I wish. I mean, it would have been nice not to have worked in that many restaurants. You know. I think I have amnesia about it. You know what I mean? I've sort of just like deleted it from my life. But yeah, it would have been nice if that was scaled down a bit. I thought you meant just like show business jobs.
either.
Yeah.
Anything egregious in your mind that you would just wish were not on your record?
Or in my memory.
Correct, in your memory.
If you could erase your memory,
I think working for a nightclub and having to go I had to work we had to put flyers up everywhere, and that was just, I mean, it was endless. In
That really does sound
bathrooms,
terrible for some reason.
it was awful. Just like packs of, and them just handing me these little packets of flyers to put in bathrooms
city
and
was this
stuff. This is in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
I spent some time there. So yeah, that was
What
not
year
fun.
were you in Chicago?
It was all through the 90s. So, 88 through 2000.
Oh, really? I was there 96 to 98. Did you ever put flyers at 4443 North Greenview?
Yes, I'm gonna tell you. I mean, let me tell you something.
solicitors.
Let me explain to you. We didn't want to.
explicitly said no
I know,
solicitors.
but there's a technicality where it was actually outside of your property, which actually we were totally allowed to do.
Okay, yeah, and that ordinance did not pass.
It did pass.
Technically, it was
did pass.
not true, Fred.
Do the research.
There's a time and a
course it
place,
passed.
fellas.
we do have a Chicago city councilor here. If you guys want.
Yes.
One of the questions I always have with SNL, I mean, obviously this is a show that is, it's
Didn't
created.
we get to go through all their embarrassing jobs?
No,
Yeah.
yours was good.
satisfied.
I think Fred's answer was really good. That no matter how embarrassing at the time, it was probably a big deal to get this
Yeah.
job, and
Yeah.
like I've seen things pop up on TV and it's embarrassing, but it's like, well, at the time I was really excited, and so whatever. Who
Yeah,
cares?
you're starstruck to be on a set of any
Yeah,
kind. You're like,
totally.
wow, I'm actually doing this. So
You do also learn from them. There are some that I've had that are really embarrassing, but I've also learned, like, there was one that was terrible that the director called and told me, I didn't like the script. I didn't like anything involved in it.
Was it a movie?
It was a movie, yeah. And the director called and he's like, I didn't like his shorts. And I was like, man, my gut says no. And he goes, look, my man, he's like, I want to make Bottle Rocket. And at the time I was like, Bottle Rocket's cool as hell. So I said yes, and I got down there and I'm like, why did I trust that? And I was like, oh, you can't just listen to the movies the director wants to make. Yeah, I want to make that too. But your track record says you're not making that movie.
And that movie had already been made.
Yeah,
that's the
but
problem.
look, if you're near that, I would have been thrilled.
I've had the opposite experience where you're kind of worried about doing something, or you think like, well, it's an opportunity, and I don't know if I should do this or not. But then you listen to people and they say it's really good, and then you trust it, and then you see it, and you're like, oh my gosh, I really did work with a whole lot of talented people. Like people were really good, and this all really did come together better than I could have thought. And I think it's saying the opposite is true as well, where you take for granted that people are going to be as good at their job as you hope to be at yours, and that's a mistake that I think people make.
Sure. The SNL piece of things, which is, I mean, obviously this show has created more stars than perhaps anything else out there. I think one of the questions that comes up is, when do you know when it's the right time to move on? And I imagine that, I mean, you've certainly witnessed many move on, but when
the description that people have whenever they leave the show is that you just know it. They just feel it in their gut, and it's just like, they know that they could go even longer, but they just feel it physically, like, you know what, I think this is a good place to stop. So that's how everyone's described it so far.
And do you guys try and keep them on board? I mean, there's plenty of people that have not gone
well,
on.
it's not, I mean, that's up to that, the talent department or Lauren. I mean, that's their discussion, and it's different for everybody. So everyone has different experiences with it. But that's the way I've had it described to me.
Like that, it's like a calling of some kind?
Yeah, or it's almost like just being done with something, They've done it enough years, and they want to see what else is out there. Amy went through it, she just knew. Yeah. And, while she was doing great on SNL too, she just felt like it was a good time to go. So that's what I've heard.
And if you weren't acting right now, what do you think you would be doing for work?
Teaching.
Teaching?
I'd still like to teach, but I don't know if that's actually going to happen.
What specifically would you like to do?
Theater. It's real interesting.
Not physics or anything?
No. But I would. I loved being in school. I especially loved being in college, and I would happily spend time back there working. I say that, I think there's a lot of things that look attractive to me. I'm like, oh no, I just want to play a teacher. I don't actually want to spend more
hard work.
3 days at the university. But I do suspect maybe that one I would actually have a higher tolerance for whatever reason. Not doctor, not lawyer, not anything like that.
How about the rest of you? What would you be doing if you weren't acting?
I was going to school to be a prison administrator. I was studying criminal justice, and
Really?
I wanted to work in the federal penal system. Penal.
It's in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Yeah, penal, but it's penal. It's not penis.
Different meaning.
Like being a pianist is not really being a penis.
He
Comedy?
didn't want to work in the penis system.
No, not then.
Like a system made entirely like of penises.
Yeah, no, penal,
Right.
correctional.
Right.
At what point did you? That was a very
I did a play in
drastic
college.
career.
Did a play in college. Loved it. Liked writing stuff down in my little book. Being told to come in stage left, go down stage, stand there, deliver line. People afterwards said I was good at it. I was stupid enough to believe them. Moved to Chicago. Got solicited by this mother.
Yeah, I was hired to do it.
Okay, that's
Don't
fine.
look at me.
But that's it. And there's no doubt I would be doing that because I like where I was from. It was near Leavenworth, Kansas, and Leavenworth is known for its federal facility, its disciplinary barracks for the military. Like it's a prison town. And so my dad knew a lot of people, and so not only was I studying it, I had an in. My goal was to be like I remember reading the career path. I could expect to be a mid-level administrator by 35 at, say, Terre Haute, Indiana. I just was always fascinated with prisons and crime, so I thought, well, you can study that, I'll do that.
Wow, intense.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Obviously, the piece that you like the most about your jobs is fairly, you love what you do. What is the piece of this job that you like the least?
I don't like the hours of a single cam. We've got the same hours I think as you do, where we're 15 hours a day, 5 days a week, and we did 25 episodes this season. So although you like everybody, and we're having to be lucky in that we all get along with each other, and we have a good crew, and we all crack a lot of jokes. Middle of episode 11, Wednesday at 2 in the morning, when Video Village is like, we're not sure if this is working. I'm like, man, let's just press the buttons on those boxes and go home for the night.
Yeah, the hours are very tough in that as you get deeper into the season. I work with a huge cast, and they are all so eager and so excited to be there that into the 14th hour, they're singing.
No.
They're singing.
That's sweet.
And joking around 14th hour, like through like the action sometimes. They'll say rolling, they're singing. It's on me, I gotta talk about my wife just died. I'm like, guys, can you stop the song just for a second so I can, because I gotta like sort of cry here. If you could just, they're so excited. And I'm, a little jaded. I've done a few shows before. I'd like to maybe go home. So it's a very different thing, because this is a nice shot for them, and for some of them it's their first shows, and they're just thrilled, But I'm like, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm like the back lot of Universal. We've been here since 6 in the morning. Yeah, let's get this and go home.
I think that's always demonstrated when visitors come to sets and somebody gets there, and we have great hours on our show, so I have no complaints about that. But like when people come from Kansas or Chicago or wherever to visit a set, and they're so excited at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then you look at them by 4 and you're like, is this like this every day? Like, you do this and it's not. Make no mistake, we are not digging holes here. We are not chained together, making large rocks into small rocks. Yeah. It is not hard work, but it's always reflected back when visitors come and are like, oh my God, this is now boring. It started off so exciting. Yeah.
In fact, I just realized like the first part of penal is exactly like penis.
Right.
And then the second one.
It changes, the second syllable is where it changes.
Not penis at all.
Turns into a different word.
Yeah.
But
You're really dwelling on that. I just should have said a correctional system.
Since it starts out
correction sounds like
penis,
erection.
It's like very funny, and then you realize he's meaning something else.
But it's almost more funny just because it ends up being something else entirely.
Right.
And
Well,
you're just
the
thinking of a
opposite
big
almost
penis.
The first part of it is insane. I mean,
crazy.
What people work
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is actually what I imagine when they say there was like a group at Harvard who like all like the writers are at, where they're like all the writers were in this Harvard group and they discussed comedy. This is actually what my fantasy of like all those what those writers would do of like, well, this is why the joke worked. Where it's like, but nobody's they're just mentally discussing every joke.
Well, the reason I go here is I think there's something very unfair happening here. If you've won an Emmy, you should not be allowed here. You know what I mean? You've won Emmys, don't come to this. Let the people who haven't won anything.
I mean, I think they were invited.
Of course they were invited, but,
I was a replacement.
He wants them penalized.
Yeah, so until that happens, until somebody rights that wrong,
Thank you.
I'm going to talk about penal and penis.
I'm
I
just
have a
glad
good
we all
question.
got to shop at the same shoe store this morning.
No socks, right?
No socks.
I want
No
it very
socks.
perfectly clear that I did not decide to wear no socks. I would wear socks.
I'm big into socks too,
These are
actually.
socks.
I said I'm not wearing socks.
Those are really pretty.
These are socks.
With
It's
some
true.
hair
It's our
on
own
them.
Hamptons getaway, you might say.
Yeah.
I want
We
to know
should do this, all of this. We should do
Yeah, tomorrow.
somewhere together.
Yeah.
who or what makes you laugh the most. Either
I
on
like it
TV
when
or-
a word sounds like it's going to be penis.
Yeah. We've moved on from that.
Oh, so
Have we?
What's penile? That penile is
That's actually an adjective
It's having to do
for
with the penis.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like-
penile implant would be of the penis.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what
is
makes you
there a
laugh
person, a
besides
show?
words that start with P?
What about penis?
It's resembling a penis.
Right.
I think it always changes.
Yeah.
I think I'll go through phases where there'll be something that makes me laugh the hardest. Right now, I was late on the game, but there's a character named Dr. Steve Brule on,
Oh my God.
who does
great,
Check It
yeah.
Out, and I'd never seen it.
I don't know what that is.
It's part of the Tim and Eric. John C. Reilly plays this character who's like a fake doctor. It's ridiculous.
The wine.
Yeah, but I just saw, somebody sent me a YouTube link of him in a thing called like lizard kisses, where like brings a lizard out to kiss him, and
that's great.
I was laughing so hard that, and I'm still in this phase. This has been like the last 2 weeks. That all I do is watch Dr. Steve Brule and will laugh until tears are coming out of my neck. Then one day I'll watch it and I'll be like, that's it, I'm over it.
Yeah.
And then there'll be like something, I won't have something for a period where I'm like, nothing's getting me. And then something will hit.
Do you watch other comedies and wish you were on them?
Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
they?
I like
All of these
Delocated.
shows.
Delocated's great. I love Portlandia. Has anyone seen Nathan For You? This
Yeah.
new
Oh, yeah.
show?
New. Great.
Boy, it's terrific.
Yeah.
That is great.
Funny.
Yeah.
Very funny.
Where's that?
Comedy Central.
You see
Yeah.
the rebate one?
No, I've only seen the first episode. I watched it last night, and because everyone had been saying how great it is, and finally I watched it. It is
a funny guy,
fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah.
The hardest I've ever laughed at a TV show is Steve Coogan doing Alan Partridge. That's the hardest
Yeah.
I've ever laughed
Yeah, yeah.
at anything.
So great.
I used to just keep it on. It was series 2, the one where he is at the Travel Tavern. I used to just have that on in my house for comfort. I wasn't even watching it. I was just like, it all just sounded right.
Yeah.
Career Builder has for years had a monkey mail, where you can type a message and email it to somebody, and this monkey will read it. And there's different voices you can pick. There's the wonderful woman British voice, and different outfits the monkey will wear. And you can, I'm not kidding, I think for about 8 years I've dealt with this, and it's one day it's just tiresome.
Right.
But then a couple of years later, somebody sends you one, you go, hot damn, it's back. A monkey mail has been
works
back for
again.
me a couple weeks ago.
That's a good one.
That would be the first time I'd ever used that expression, but I'll bet you I would use it.
We're all alone tonight. Something's going to have to go, hot damn.
Bring on the monkey mail.
Fred, how about you? What cracks you up the most?
Well, I think being around writers, sometimes if I'm with SNL writers or watching something on TV like the news, just the way they sort of break everything down, it just makes me laugh. The way they think is just...
The real newscasters?
Yeah, just like real news thing, just anything, or awards shows or whatever, just the way that they look at it, I just like sitting there and just letting them do that. It's just, that's really fun. Even just other comedians, just being around them is great.
Who are your comedy heroes?
What do you mean, like of?
Or just people you've sort of admired your whole life that.
Chevy Chase. I actually have a strong memory of and I really mean this, watching Martin Lawrence. He's
great.
He was so just great on his show and just like so much energy. I don't know, just it's like almost everybody. I think it's all the same people we've all watched. I think we all kind of grew up on the same stuff.
Anybody else? Heroes?
I didn't know it at the time, but probably Tim Conway and Harvey Korman, you know, watching that with my grandparents, I remember vividly watching that. But, you know, then, of course, I didn't know I wanted to be an actor. But there's just no doubt that those characters that those two guys played had an influence on me. And, you know, watching the random episode of Benny Hill on PBS to see a quick shot of a boob late at night as a kid definitely had some sort of influence on, you know, what my comedic abilities are, allegedly became, or whatever. And we just lost, you know, Jonathan Winters, who, I mean, he was, for my type specifically, just a true pioneer. And John Candy's, you know, probably my all-time favorite. That's probably one of my biggest, I think it is probably my biggest regret, like of being an actor at this time in my life and never getting to share a moment or a piece of room with John Candy, because everything you hear about him is just, you know, what you would expect. Yeah. So did you meet him with hockey stuff at all?
I never met him.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I think it's probably the same as everyone, but for me it's Steve Martin and David Letterman and Albert Brooks.
Yeah.
Those three guys for me are pretty.
Michael Keaton?
Yeah, Michael Keaton.
Chris Farley for me, actually. No one made me laugh like Chris Farley when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I worked with Chris Farley. That guy, one of the very few people that on a daily basis made me laugh.
That was his last movie, right?
Yeah, he made me laugh really hard, like really. I don't usually laugh. I'm one of those guys that just goes, "That's really funny. That's really funny," and he would make me laugh like this, like Alan Alda crazy laugh, almost daily. Yeah.
Wow.